The wind howled through the desolate stretch of highway, a sound like a distant, mournful wail. The gas station was the only thing for miles, a lonely beacon of light in an ocean of darkness. It was almost 2 a.m, and I was the last man standing on the night shift. The kind of night where you can almost hear your own heartbeat, where every creak and groan of the building seems amplified tenfold. It was the kind of night where bad things happen. I was wiping down the counter, trying to keep my mind busy, when the power went out. Just like that, everything plunged into darkness, save for the emergency lights casting eerie red glows across the aisles. I stood there frozen, my mind racing to make sense of it. But then I saw something. Someone standing just outside the range of the lights. A figure, tall and motionless, barely visible in the gloom. I squinted, trying to get a better look, but the darkness seemed to swallow it up. It was too far away to see clearly, just a shadow against the deeper blackness. My first instinct was to laugh it off. Maybe it was a trick of the light, or my tired mind playing games. But then it moved, just a fraction, and I knew I wasn't alone. "Hello?" I called out, my voice cracking slightly. No response. The figure didn't move again, didn't even flinch, just stood there as if it was watching me. A chill ran down my spine, the kind you feel when you know something is terribly wrong. I turned away, trying to shake off the unease, but I could feel its presence, a heavy weight pressing on me from across the room. I tried to convince myself it was nothing, just a prank, or some drifter looking for a place to stay the night. But deep down, I knew it was something else, something far worse. I went back inside and locked the door, hoping that would be the end of it. But when I turned to look out the window, the figure had moved closer. It was just outside the glass now, its shape more defined. It wasn't a person, at least, not anymore. The figure was tall, impossibly tall, its limbs unnaturally long and thin. Its skin, if you could call it that, was mottled and grey, stretched tight over sharp, angular bones. But it was its eyes, or the empty black voids where eyes should have been, that froze me in place. They were like bottomless pits, absorbing all light, all hope. I took a step back, heart pounding in my chest. The thing, it couldn't be human, leaned closer to the glass, its mouth slowly stretching into a twisted grin. The smile was too wide, too full of jagged, needle-like teeth. It raised a bony hand and pressed it against the window, leaving a smear of something dark and viscous on the glass. I could see the skin splitting as it did, revealing raw, glistening muscle beneath. My instincts screamed at me to run, but my legs wouldn't move. I was trapped in place, staring into those empty voids. The creature's grin widened, the corners of its mouth splitting open like a grotesque wound, black ichor dripping onto the floor. It leaned closer, its face, or what was left of it, almost pressed against the glass. I could hear its breath now, a wet, rasping sound, like it was struggling to inhale. And with each breath, the smell of decay filled the air, so thick I could taste it. I broke free from my paralysis and bolted to the back room, slamming the door behind me. My hands shook as I fumbled to lock it, the metal trembling in my grip. I grabbed my phone and tried to call the police, but the signal was dead. Of course it was. The lights flickered, then went out completely, plunging me into darkness once more. The only sound was the pounding of my heart and the thing's slow, deliberate footsteps echoing through the store. The back room was small, cramped with boxes and shelves, nowhere to hide. I crouched behind a stack of supplies, trying to calm my ragged breathing. I could hear the creature now, its footsteps dragging across the linoleum floor, slow and methodical. It was searching for me, taking its time, savouring the hunt. Then I heard the door creak open. I held my breath, squeezing my eyes shut, praying that it wouldn't find me. But I could feel it, a cold, malevolent presence filling the room. The smell of decay grew stronger, suffocating. I could hear its breath, wet and gurgling, like it was struggling to hold itself together. I dared to peek around the corner, and there it was, crouched low, its body contorted in ways that defied nature. It sniffed the air, its head twitching unnaturally as it searched for me. I bit down on my lip, hard enough to draw blood, trying to keep silent. But it was no use. The creature's head snapped toward me, its void-like eyes locking onto mine. It grinned wider, its mouth splitting open to reveal rows upon rows of jagged teeth, black ooze dripping from its maw. It lunged at me, moving faster than anything that should be able to. I scrambled backward, knocking over boxes and crates, my mind screaming in terror. I could feel its icy breath on my face, could hear the wet slithering of its limbs as it crawled toward me. It was toying with me, enjoying the fear radiating from me like a beacon. Just when I thought it was over, when I could almost feel its claws tearing into my flesh, the first light of dawn broke through the cracks in the boarded-up windows. The creature hissed, a sound that sent shivers down my spine, and recoiled as if the light burned it. It scrambled backward, its twisted body convulsing as it retreated into the shadows. I lay there, gasping for breath, my body trembling uncontrollably. I could hear it thrashing around, snarling and hissing as the light grew stronger. And then, as quickly as it had appeared, it was gone, leaving only the lingering stench of decay and a trail of black ichor on the floor. I didn't wait to see if it would come back. I stumbled out of the back room, through the store, and out into the pale morning light. My car was parked out front, and I didn't stop running until I was behind the wheel, my foot slamming down on the gas. I drove until I couldn't see the gas station anymore, until the sun was fully in the sky and the terror began to fade, replaced by a numb disbelief. I don't know what that thing was, or why it chose me, but one thing is certain. I survived, but I'll never be the same, and I'll never ever work the night shift again.